Your thoughts feel real, don't they? But what if I told you they're nothing more than illusions, shaping your reality in ways you've never questioned? In this video, we're exposing the shocking truth about your thoughts and how they deceive you every day. Stick around. What you're about to discover will completely change how you see yourself and your mind. 1. What are thoughts? Really? We go through life assuming our thoughts are part of who we are. But what if that assumption is entirely wrong? Let's dig into what thoughts really are. At their core, thoughts are nothing more than electrical impulses in the brain, signals sent between neurons to process information. They are fleeting, temporary bursts of energy, yet we give them extraordinary power, allowing them to dictate how we feel, how we act, and even who we believe ourselves to be. Think about this for a moment. Have you ever tried to hold on to a single thought? The harder you try, the faster it seems to slip away, doesn't it? That's because thoughts are like clouds in the sky. They form, they drift, they fade. You don't try to grab a cloud and hold on to it because you know it's not possible. Yet with thoughts, we cling to them, believing they define us. Here's a liberating truth. Thoughts are not reality. They're not facts. They're mental constructs, interpretations your brain makes based on stimuli from the world around you. For instance, you might see someone frown, and your brain instantly generates a thought. They're upset with me. But is that true? Or is it just your mind's interpretation? This automatic process is why thoughts can be so deceiving. They are not solid truths. They are guesses, projections, and stories your brain tells. Imagine sitting by a river watching leaves float by. You don't jump into the river to grab the leaves. You simply watch them pass. This is exactly how you can approach your thoughts. They are the leaves on the river of your mind, passing, flowing, and ultimately insignificant unless you choose to grab onto them. When you stop identifying with your thoughts, you unlock the freedom to experience life without the constant chatter of the mind. But why do we hold on to thoughts so tightly if they're so impermanent? Because we've been conditioned to believe that our thoughts are part of our identity. From a young age, we're taught to value intellect and self-awareness. We're told to think before we act and to use our minds to solve problems. Over time, this emphasis on thinking creates the illusion that our thoughts are who we are. But here's the truth. Your thoughts are not you. They are simply patterns of energy in your brain. Nothing more, nothing less. Now consider this. If you are not your thoughts, then who are you? The answer is profound, and we'll explore it further in the sections to come. For now, remember this key idea. Thoughts are temporary, unreliable, and ultimately not a reflection of who you truly are. They are the background noise of your consciousness, static on the radio. And the moment you stop identifying with them, you begin to uncover your true self. 2. The illusion of thought control. Many of us live with the belief that we control our thoughts, that we're the master of the mental dialogue running in our minds. But here's a surprising revelation. You don't control your thoughts. They arise spontaneously, often without any conscious effort. Have you ever been sitting quietly and suddenly, out of nowhere, an embarrassing memory from years ago pops into your head? Or a random song starts playing in your mind for no apparent reason? This isn't you choosing to think, this is your mind doing what it does, producing thoughts. This phenomenon becomes even clearer when you try to stop thinking. Go ahead, try it. Close your eyes and don't think about anything for just 10 seconds. What happens? Your mind rebels, doesn't it? Thoughts still arise, uninvited, as if they have a life of their own. This is because the mind is like a factory. Its job is to produce thoughts, constantly and endlessly. But here's the catch. You are not the factory, and you don't have to identify with its output. The illusion of control over our thoughts is one of the greatest tricks our minds play on us. It makes us believe that because a thought appeared, it must be ours, and we must act on it or believe it. But the truth is, thoughts arise from a combination of past experiences, societal conditioning, and subconscious processes. They're more like echoes of your environment and upbringing than deliberate choices. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine walking past someone who gives you a strange look. Instantly, your mind generates a thought. Did I do something wrong? Do they dislike me? But did you actively choose to think that? Or did your brain automatically generate it based on past insecurities or fears? This automatic nature of thought proves one thing: you are not the creator of your thoughts. You are the observer of them. And when you realize this, the grip your thoughts have over you starts to loosen. Here's the empowering part. When you stop trying to control your thoughts and simply observe them, you begin to understand their true nature. You see that they're not facts, they're not commands, and they certainly don't define you. They're just mental events, like clouds passing in the sky. And the more you detach from them, the more freedom you gain. 3. How thoughts shape perception. Your thoughts don't just come and go, they actively shape the way you see the world. But here's the kicker: the lens through which you view life isn't always accurate. Thoughts are like filters on a camera. They can enhance reality, distort it, or even create a completely false picture. And the most shocking part: you often don't realize it's happening. Take a simple example. You wake up in a bad mood. Maybe you didn't sleep well, or you're stressed about something. Almost immediately, your mind starts interpreting everything through a negative lens. Someone cuts you off in traffic and you think, people are so rude. Your coworker is quiet during a meeting and you think, they must be upset with me. But are these interpretations true? Or are they simply the result of your thoughts coloring your perception? This process is called cognitive bias, and it's a natural part of how the brain works. Your mind constantly takes shortcuts to interpret the world, but these shortcuts are often based on past experiences and emotions rather than objective reality. For instance, if you've had a bad experience with a friend ignoring your texts, your mind might assume that anyone who doesn't respond quickly is upset with you. But that's not reality. That's your mind projecting a thought onto the situation. What's even more fascinating is that your thoughts can create self-fulfilling prophecies. If you believe a situation will go badly, you unconsciously act in ways that make it happen. For example, if you think, I'm going to mess up this presentation, your anxiety might cause you to stumble over your words, reinforcing the belief that you're not good at public speaking. This cycle of thought, perception, and behavior is why it's so important to recognize that your thoughts are not reality. Here's the good news. Once you become aware of this process, you can start to break free from it. By questioning your thoughts and recognizing them as interpretations rather than facts, you can begin to see the world as it truly is, free from the distortions of the mind. 4. The power of letting go. If thoughts are an illusion, why do we cling to them so tightly? The answer lies in our need for control. We believe that by holding on to our thoughts, analyzing them, and trying to solve them, we can somehow gain control over our lives. But the truth is, this constant mental chatter only creates stress and anxiety. Letting go of your thoughts doesn't mean ignoring them. It means recognizing them for what they are and choosing not to let them control you. Think of your thoughts as waves in the ocean. If you try to fight the waves, you'll exhaust yourself. But if you float with them, you'll realize they can't hurt you. Letting go is about floating, about observing your thoughts without judgment or attachment. This doesn't mean suppressing your thoughts or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging them and then releasing them, like letting a bird fly out of an open cage. One powerful way to practice letting go is through mindfulness. When you're mindful, you focus on the present moment rather than getting lost in your thoughts. For example, if you're washing dishes, pay attention to the feel of the water, the sound of the clinking plates, and the motion of your hands. By grounding yourself in the present, you create space between you and your thoughts, making it easier to see them for the illusions they are. The moment you let go of your thoughts, you experience a profound sense of freedom. You realize that you are not the waves, you are the ocean. And as the ocean, you are vast, limitless, and unaffected by the passing storms of the mind. 5. Who are you without your thoughts? If you're not your thoughts, then who are you? This is one of the most profound questions you can ask yourself. Most people spend their entire lives identifying with their thoughts, believing that their mental chatter is who they are. But when you strip away the noise of the mind, what remains? The answer is your true self, the pure conscious awareness that exists beyond thought. Imagine standing in a quiet forest, away from the noise of the city. In that stillness, you begin to notice things you couldn't hear before. The rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, the gentle whisper of the wind. This is what happens when you quiet your mind. You become aware of the deeper part of you, the part that exists beyond the constant chatter. Your true self is not something you can think about or define with words. It's something you experience. It's the part of you that watches your thoughts without getting caught up in them. It's the awareness that remains steady and unchanging, no matter what's happening in your mind or your life. This realization can be life-changing. When you stop identifying with your thoughts, you free yourself from their limitations. You no longer have to be a prisoner of your fears, doubts, or insecurities. Instead, you can live from a place of peace, clarity, and authenticity. 6. The roots of illusion. To truly grasp why your thoughts are an illusion, we need to dive into their origins. Where do thoughts come from? They're not something you consciously create. In fact, most of the time, they feel like they arise out of nowhere, unbidden and unfiltered. These thoughts are shaped by layers of conditioning, your upbringing, your environment, the culture you grew up in, and your past experiences. But none of these layers are you. Let's consider this. If you were born in a completely different culture with a different language and set of beliefs, your thoughts would reflect that environment, wouldn't they? For example, a child raised in a remote village with no exposure to modern technology would never think about social media algorithms. Their thoughts are shaped by their surroundings, just as yours are shaped by yours. This alone proves that thoughts are not inherently personal, they are borrowed from external influences. Understanding this takes away their power. If your thoughts are simply a reflection of your conditioning, then why should you believe them? Why should you let them define you? The next time a thought arises, especially one that causes you anxiety or self-doubt, pause and ask yourself, where did this come from? Did I choose this? Or is it just a product of my conditioning? This simple act of questioning can be incredibly freeing. The more you question your thoughts, the more you'll see their illusory nature. They're like shadows on a wall, appearing real but completely dependent on the light source behind them. And once you see the roots of these shadows, you can stop being controlled by them. 7. The observer versus the observed. One of the most transformative realizations is that you are not your thoughts, you are the one observing them. This might sound abstract, but it's actually something you can experience directly. Take a moment right now to notice your thoughts. What's happening? You're watching them, aren't you? There's a part of you that can step back and observe your mind, almost like an audience watching a play. This observer is your true self. It's the part of you that remains unchanged no matter what thoughts or emotions come and go. For instance, imagine you're feeling angry. If you were truly the anger, you wouldn't be able to step back and notice it. But the fact that you can observe your anger means there's a deeper part of you that isn't angry. It's simply aware. This realization can be incredibly liberating. When you identify with the observer rather than the thoughts, you gain a sense of detachment. It's like watching a storm from inside a cozy house. The storm is still there, but it can't touch you. You're safe and grounded no matter how chaotic the storm becomes. This perspective also helps you respond to life more calmly and intentionally. Instead of reacting impulsively to every thought or emotion, you can pause, observe, and choose your response. This is the essence of mindfulness, and it all starts with understanding the difference between the observer and the observed. Thank you for joining me on this journey of self-discovery. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need this message today. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss more insights like these. Remember, you're more than your thoughts. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.